This is the book Beat Depression by David Hinds from the year 2001, chapter 39, The Ultimate Challenge, Forgiveness. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. The Lord's Prayer from the Book of Common Prayer. The bottom line, crucial to your recovery, forgive yourself as well. Forgiving is by far the most difficult undertaking I shall ask you to attempt in this book. I know from my own life experiences, past and very recent, the exercises towards the end of the chapter will test you. Nevertheless, if you really are to recover from depression, if you are to go on to enjoy a happy, meaningful life, I cannot spare you now. You are too tantalizingly close to achieving a monumental step forward in life, second only to the ability to love. Forgiveness is the greatest test of our qualities as human beings. The only way to heal the pain that will not heal itself is to forgive the person who hurt you, not forgetting to forgive yourself at the same time for any complicity, omission, or personal responsibility in the matter. Forgiving erases the intensity of the hurt from your memory and allows you to move on. When you release the wrongdoer from the wrong, it's as if you are cutting a malignant tumor out of your inner self. You set a prisoner free, but you discover the real prisoner was you. In demonstrating that forgiveness can positively enhance emotional health, Professor Carl Thorensen of Stanford University in the States, lead researcher for the Stanford Forgiveness Project, has said, very few people understand what forgiveness is and how it works. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is the act of cancelling an emotional debt from the wrongdoer to you, and from you to yourself. It involves a conscious and deliberate process of revised thinking to bring about this total transformation of feelings from bitterness and resentment, or even hate, to feelings of genuine compassion. These humanitarian emotions allow your heart to open up and become receptive to the extraordinary act of will and courage necessary to complete the forgiveness exercises later in this chapter. What if I am not yet ready to forgive? If you are still reading, then clearly you have reached the stage whereby you are at least prepared to contemplate forgiveness, even if you are not ready or able to forgive just yet. Already you have come a very long way along the path towards forgiveness. I cannot believe that you will persist in torturing yourself forever now that relief from all that pain is almost within your grasp. Forgiveness is something that you can prepare to do despite your misgivings. Forgiving is a process that has a very definite start to it, and you may be closer to the starting line than you thought possible days, even hours ago. The start is deciding that in the end you will forgive, you will recover, you will have a better quality of life. Why is reconciliation so hard after conflict? Depressed people have particular difficulty in achieving reconciliation after experiencing hostility, whether it occurred either a week or more than 50 years ago. In the majority of instances, this is because as children we were never taught how to reconcile our differences with other people, and now as adults we feel awkward about acquiring the skills to go about it. Another reason so many people feel that they cannot contemplate reconciliation is their need to be proved right, to have the moral high ground, the dominant position. The person who reaches out to make peace is perceived as the one who has submitted. This, by implication, infers that he or she may have been the one in the wrong. This is sad because the one who reaches out, the one who tries to heal the rift, regardless of right or wrong, is very likely to be the finer character. It can be even harder to forgive someone who is dead, or someone who isn't sorry for what they have done, or someone who is blissfully unaware of the hurt they have caused. Quite possibly the offender did not deliberately set out to hurt you. Parents and children, lovers and sweethearts, husbands, wives, in-laws or exes know a lot about this. Forgive yourself. Life didn't come complete with a step-by-step instruction manual for getting it right every single time. We are human, and this implies that we are going to make mistakes, mess up, lose our way, say things we regret, and be downright selfish and unbearable once in a while. I am not a religious person myself, but I believe the most wonderful thing about saints is that they were human. Like us, they may have lost their tempers, got angry, scolded God, made mistakes and regretted them, but still they were rewarded the peace of God, which to me surpasses all understanding. So what is the big deal about getting things wrong from time to time? Why are we so hard on ourselves? Why can't Mr., Mrs. or Miss Perfect accept that life is a learning curve and that there is much to be gained from accepting our weaknesses and forgiving others and ourselves? The core texts of the world's principal religions recognize that the quest for happiness is not without its challenges and obstacles. The experience of fulfillment would seem to involve some kind of spiritual journey through life, which at times appears almost to go beyond the limits of human emotion and understanding. Depression is a tragedy by any standards, but much good can come out of it if we are persuaded to address a matter which is long overdue, forgiving ourselves and others who have wronged us. Doing it. There are 3 straightforward steps to forgiveness. Step 1 is dissolving resentment. Step 2 is identifying with the wrongdoer's possible motivation in a compassionate way. Step 3 is the act of forgiveness itself, which is forever irretrievable. You can't wake up tomorrow and decide to rescind it. Please note the sequence and contents of these exercises are exactly the same regardless of whether you are forgiving yourself or other people. Step 1, dissolving resentment. Sit quietly, close your eyes and relax. Imagine yourself sitting alone in an empty, dimly lit theatre. You can sit in the front row, the back row, or in a private box or anywhere else you choose, as long as you place the person or persons you are going to forgive on the stage. It could be someone from the past or the present, living or dead. It could be an image of yourself up there on the stage while you remain in your seat. When in your mind's eye you see this person, these people, imagine wonderful things happening to them. The sort of things that would make them happy and contented without in any way threatening or saddening you. See their smiling faces fill with delight and feel the warmth of their happiness touching you. Hold this image for a few moments. longer if you wish, before opening your eyes. You can repeat this step daily with a different person or group of people. Should you experience difficulty in visualizing images in your mind, you can instead paint, draw on paper, or create these scenes on your computer. I want to, but I just can't do it. If you really can't overcome your resentment and find it in your heart to forgive, you must realize that it is your recovery that is at stake. If you cannot forgive the person who hurt you, you must dismiss him or her from your mind. See them as beneath contempt, if that helps, and move on. Don't allow such a person to get in the way of your recovery. Forgiveness is the only option in the end, but if your hurt has been so deep that you cannot deal with it without thinking of revenge, use the following technique. Resentment workout, revenge. Skip this step if possible. Use only if necessary. Use only once. For some of us, even nice people, there is an unsavory but necessary interim step to take before we can feel able to bring ourselves to forgive. Sometimes a part of us needs to have revenge before we can move on. Okay, let's get on with it. Close your eyes, relax, and think of all these people, or that one particular person who is hardest to forgive. What would you really like to do with them if you could have your way with each and every one of them? In your idea of a perfect world, what would you have them do to earn your forgiveness? Imagine it happening, play it through in your mind, enjoy it, savor it, and now get down to the details. Exactly how long do you want them to suffer for, and how much should they suffer? When you are satisfied you have worked through your resentment, that's the time to get down to the serious business of forgiving, yourself included. Step 2, understanding and identifying with the wrongdoer's possible motivation in a compassionate way. Try very hard to be compassionate in your thoughts of the other person. Bear in mind that they were probably trying to do the best they could with the limited resources and abundant problems they had at the time. Their priorities and values may be different from yours. Identify with the person's possible motivation and try to think of charitable reasons for the motivation behind what they did or what they said that hurt you so much. If you were responsible for contributing to the situation in some way, admit it, learn from your mistake, and then release yourself and the other person from the situation once and for all. Step 3, the act of forgiveness. Sit down, stand to attention, or kneel, whichever seems appropriate to you. Close your eyes and say these words out loud. The person I need to forgive is ... name, and I forgive them for ... state succinctly what they did or said to hurt you. The person I need to forgive is ... and I forgive them for ... Repeat this 3 times, each time with increased emphasis, conviction, and absolution in your voice and in your heart. Well done. Now you can really concentrate on getting better, and you will succeed.